They were starving, not because the soil was bad, but because the system was. So one winter night, 18 farmers met in secret and wrote the most dangerous document in modern Chinese history. It was 1978 in a poor little place called Xiaogang in Anhui Province, China. For decades, these farmers had labored under Mao's collectivist system. Every acre was owned by the commune. Every crop belonged to the state. They worked for others and watched their own families go hungry. Year after year, the harvests shrank. By winter, people were eating tree bark and grass roots. Mothers buried children too weak to cry. Men went to the fields knowing there was no hope. And when one dared to ask if they at least owned their own bodies, a party official sneered, "You don't even own your own teeth." That was the world they lived in, a world where even hope had been collectivized. Until one freezing December night, 18 men slipped away under cover of darkness and gathered in a mud brick hut at the edge of the village. They barred the door, they lit a single oil lamp, and one man unrolled a piece of paper. There, in trembling hands and whispered voices, they made a pact. Each family would take a small plot of land. Each would farm it as their own. They would still deliver the government's quota, but anything beyond that, they could keep. They knew the risk. At that time, disobeying Mao's collective orders was treason, punishable by prison or death. So at the bottom of the page, they wrote one final line. If any of them were caught and executed, the others would raise their children. Then, one by one, they pressed their thumbs into red ink and marked the paper with their prints. A covenant written not in words alone, but in blood and courage. They rolled it up, hid it inside a bamboo tube, and buried it beneath the straw, and the next morning, they went to work as free men for the first time in their lives. And when the harvest came in, it was a miracle. The village produced more food that year than in the previous 5 years combined. No one starved, the children laughed again, and the rumor of plenty began to spread. Local officials soon discovered the pact, but instead of punishment, Beijing sent investigators who saw the overflowing grain for themselves. And in a quiet act of wisdom, rare for any regime, the government chose not to destroy the pact, but to learn from it. Those secret thumbprints, once a death sentence, became the seed of China's great economic reform. Today, the original pact is displayed in a national museum, a sacred reminder of what happens when ordinary people dare to take back responsibility for their own lives. Because freedom, even when whispered in secret, can move mountains and feed nations. And that's another story in freedom's long history.